vám před očima zabijou kamaráda, tak na to nikdy nezapomenete.
Pamatuju si, že teta si směla zabalit jen to nejnutnější. Kufry nesměly vážit víc než 50 kilo a balila je pod dohledem českých vojáků.
Zabil je, ale já vím dobře, kde jsou ty hroby a kde je zakopali.
Vykašlete se na ten průzkum, šetříte si práci. Ta škola dělá ve vesnici zlou krev. Lidi nezajímá to, co bylo před 50 rokama. Lidi zajímá to, co bude zítra.
Teď už si myslím, že už je to hlavní.
Yes, you can smile, we're live now. Hey
Hello.
everybody, hi! Thanks so much for
Hello,
tuning
everyone.
in. This is, I think, the biggest number of viewers we had at the beginning of a stream, which is totally great. And we have planned this stream in the most non-European time zone accessible time, which is 23:00 for us. And it shows. So we expect nothing less than a lively conversation. I'm Ondřej, I'm comms chief of Charles Games and also part-time scripter, but don't quote me on that. To my, it's actually mirrored, right? So to my left or right, depending on who's looking, is Ondřej, our...
Hi, I'm our lead programmer.
And
on
also
both
the one who will be
project-
playing our game, Svoboda 1945, which you've just seen the trailer of. And above me, as it should be because he's above me in a hierarchy, is our project lead co-founder, Lukáš. You probably met him yesterday, if you were watching us.
So, hi,
Hey,
hello
thank
everyone.
you so much for joining. So without further ado, I'll be trying to make use of some nice phrases that I learned in school because now I'm not a native speaker. So without further ado, let's dive into our game, Ondřej, and please tell us what we're witnessing here on the big screen.
So this is the full version of the game, but there is already a demo out.
I will
You can-
hide my test bar just a second. Okay, yes, we're good.
You can play the demo for this game already. That's on Steam, probably just below where you're watching right now. And we're gonna play the full version now, just to show you a little bit outside of the scope and talk about it. So let's just play.
Yeah, let's
I mean,
dive right in.
In case that you've got any questions or anything, just please leave them in the chat.
Yeah,
We'll
sure. We
slowly get
are
to them.
playing, we are commenting, but we are here for you. So please make use of a chat. If you are watching us on our on our Steam page, there's a button somewhere here, I think, that says open chat. So please do open chat and ask us anything. Ask us anytime. We'll be happy to answer. But
So
you're not sharing me sound. I don't hear it.
Okay, just a minute.
I think I don't hear it sound. Yeah, now I hear sounds. Nice. Yes. I hear something. Okay. So here we are. And what just happened in our game? So like, what happened?
Just we kind of rushed through the intro, but you could see there that this is gonna be the story is gonna be taking place in a town or a little village called Svoboda in the Czech borderlands, and there was a disclaimer at the beginning that all the characters are fictitious, but the history behind them is real, and all their fate and all their histories are based on real people's stories and rigorous research.
Yeah, so we are so like to give you a roundup, the game is about post-war events after World War II that happened on the Czech-German borderlands, and that is where we just arrived. Though it's in year 2000...
Vykašlete se na ten průzkum, šetříte si práci. Ta škola dělá ve vesnici zlou krev. Lidi nezajímá to, co bylo před 50 rokama. Lidi zajímá to, co bude zítra.
Já jsem trošku zbludný.
So this is a notebook with your with some of your notes. We are actually kind of in the end of the game right now, and we are looking through a notebook you filled throughout your little trip to this village. And these are some of the memories of the things that happened in the village. So should I just go ahead?
Maybe just a very general comment. Like in this game, it's an adventure, and when you jump into the story, you basically have some task to discover what was happening in one of the villages in the Czech borderlands. And when you are there, you actually discover that a lot actually happened after the Second World War there. And there are many interesting stories and many interesting destinies there, and they are somehow intervened. And it's actually very interesting and touching to hear those people to tell you something about their lives and about the things that happened to them. So that's just to set the stage.
Right. Okay. Thanks so much. You were actually there during the initial production phase, which I weren't. We'll maybe get to that later. But as you can see, we work very heavily with memorabilia and the actual historical materials, and trust our team of historians from the Academy of Czech Sciences that each of those could actually exist in their given time.
These are actual posters, actual photographs that were from that time. So this is not like something we created.
Actually, with this scene, you can already see that we are kind of hinting at all the major topics, not only the only ones, but the major topics you will encounter. And this is the mass expulsion of Germans from the borderlands after World War II, which is some kind of a it's a topic that still stirs emotion both in Czech Republic and Germany. It's a communist collectivization that was taking place from 48, where happened the coup d'état, and also the reconciliation after war, which is depicted in the lower left postcard. So this is kind of a design-wise, we wanted to give you a little, how's it called, sightseeing view. It doesn't seem appropriate, but
I would call it foreshadowing.
Yeah, okay, foreshadowing. You're the most English nerd from us, so out of us. So foreshadowing and what's to come in a game, but like each of those topics will be much explored in a much greater detail. But please, let's continue. So we'll get to the core of our gameplay, which is talking to people.
Ve škole zastřelili mýho bratra. To vám pan Studnička neřekl, že byl u toho 8. května 45?
Yes, we also found.
Pamatuju si, že teta si směla zabalit jen to nejnutnější kufry, nesměla vážit víc než 50 kilo a balila je pod dohledem českých vojáků.
Please, I know you're watching it, but if you feel like you want to give us any feedback or comment on this initial scene of the game, please tell us. The game is available as a demo, but we are releasing in August 2021, so we're looking to gather as much feedback as we can.
Měl možnost rozhodnout,
and that goes for anything
jestli chce
you'll
jít se vsi nebo proti ní. A kdo šel proti vsi, ten musel počítat s následkami.
So you will see that it's all going to be revolving around this schoolhouse in the village. All the history that went through the village went through this one house, and you are actually there to assess if it has historical value and if it should be preserved or if it's going to be allowed to be torn down. And you find something mysterious there that's personally connected to you.
Yeah, so this is also very on purpose. You know, in Attentat 1942, which is our previous game that is actually on sale right now, the game, like, from the start, you were like you were the motivation was totally clear, right? Like you were trying to find out stuff what happened to your grandfather. But here you are on a like seemingly mundane job that is just like another day in the office, like going into Borderlands, trying to away from school, and then suddenly maybe something will happen, and we will see it in the next 5 minutes that will like turn it upside down, and from a mundane trip, this will become a I think a question of
Dobrý den, tady Nováková, starostka.
vital
Kde jste?
importance
Jeďte
to
rovnou
the
ke škole,
heritage of
pan
her
Blum už
family,
tam na
let's
vás
put it that
čeká.
way.
Až doděláte ten stavební průzkum, tak se stavte za mnou, ať to dorazíme. Naschledanou.
Yeah, we do have a lot of foreshadowing in the intro.
Well, we can maybe stress that if you like the demo, there is already a game in a similar style called Attentat 1942, which we talked about, which is already available and is at a discount.
Yeah, and it's also a game that like, gave birth to our studio, or enabled our studio to be born. So now we're in the game itself, in one of the core of 4 parts, where you interview people FMV style, Bandersnatch style, but to be honest, and I think we can boast, since this is our last stream of the day, a little more refined way than Bandersnatch.
Ale jistě.
So, yeah.
Kde začneme? Na půdě?
Oh, the attic. We had like 5 attics until we chose this attic. Was it 5 or 4? Lukas, do you remember?
I think it was. This is the 5th one.
5th one, yeah.
But
We settled on
To jsou
5th attic.
kluci z jednotky. Nikdo z nich už nežije.
But as I'm watching it right now, I really like how you approach the village, and it seems like nobody is really welcoming you there. But as you try to ask more and more questions, they start to feel like they can talk to you. I really like that side of the game, especially in the intro.
To si dávno zamknul, klepal.
Yeah, I think our characters are written in a way that if you ask carefully, or like not too much carefully, but like with a little common sense, and you will emphasize that you're actually searching for your family history, as we will encounter just in a minute. I think it shows like there's a nice build-up, or like a rather evolution of their approach to you. So I think we managed to kind of model something significant about human interactions in this. Like, and this seems like super marketing copy, but I truly believe it. We also have first question, so like, I don't know when. We should probably play the attic part. So I'm off.
So this is a kind of a second type of gameplay you will see in the game. First one was the interactive video, interactive kind of interviews with people in FMV style, and this is like an interactive scene where you rummage around in this attic trying to find if there's anything interesting about this place.
It's like a historical, but not so much hidden object game where you like shuffle through stuff, shuffle through memorabilia, and encounter many different things. And like, there's a story behind that uniform. Right?
Yeah, I mean, in general, all the artifacts you see in the scene, they actually exist. It's like we actually found them somewhere. They're historically accurate, and we put them in the scene. And for example, this uniform, which is there, it took us, I think, it was 4, maybe 5 months of negotiation with some museum to actually be able to use this copy of the uniform in our game. So, but we were really urgent that we want this exact copy because our historians really thought that this one could fit perfectly what we wanted to show and what could be used by someone who was actually fighting at Dukla, which is the first character you've just seen, the Mr. Vlk. Yeah,
That's
so
yes.
yeah, there's basically you can cherry pick any element in this scene, and there is a story how we managed to actually find that particular artifact to use it in the scene.
Yeah, we also have, as you'll notice, as we will go on, We also have a pretty unique historical archival archival? Is it archival?
Archival. Yeah.
Archival, thank you. Archival footage that was actually exclusively, not exclusively, but like licensed to us to use in the game, and those are very unique footage from the end of the world that was actually shot during it. So we have a lot of nice.
Tak tuhle bednu jsem snad nikdy
nice
neotevřel.
stuff there.
Ta tu asi zůstala po Němcích.
Or no, history aficionados, not only nerds. Everybody who's a little bit interested in history. We have 22 viewers, hi, so and we are. This is so important scene.
Yeah, but I mean, what's really nice is that you can be somehow interested in history and you'll be happy with this game because there is a lot to find out and a lot of interesting stuff happening. But if you are really into history, there is still a lot which you can discover, and it will make you happy to see some small details to actually interact with.
Before we go on, I would just like, I think you hinted at a very important thing that I want to make like abundantly clear, is that despite we probably spend and will spend on this stream quite a lot of time talking about history, the game is actually, it is of course about history and rooted in historical research, but it's not only for those who are into history. Like you obviously have to be a little into history, but you don't have to know anything prior to the story. We have encyclopedia in the game, and also we deal with topics such as family traumas, reconciliation with the past, the line between revenge and justice, which are just, I think, fairly general and relatable to almost anybody. So like,
and especially now, some of these topics are very very relevant to the discourse about immigrants and about war. And other topics. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was basically it. Like you made best pun I could hope for, so or dot behind my sentence. And I think we can inquire a little more about the photos we found in the attic, and one of them was our grandpa. What was he doing in the village? And right now, the whole mundane trip to work is kind of receding, and the family trauma storyline is taking hold.
Tenhle? To nevím. Ale zeptejte se studničky, bydlí vedle. A chtěl s váma stejně mluvit o té demolici.
We have 25 viewers. Thank you so much. This is, I think, the biggest number we had in our stream on LudoNarraCon. So please drop us a comment, drop us a feedback, drop us a question in the chat below. If you're watching us from the Steam page, there's a link how to enter the chat. It's a little bubble icon, so use it, and we are happy. We are here for you to answer anything you might be interested, and we can continue with the war weather.
What should I choose here? Any preference?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Big fan of demolition, so.
Okay.
To nevíte, to se tady bude bourat všechno. To dostane klepa. Ten si to tady chce zbourat a postavit a rozšířit tady svoji firmu. A starostka mu to samozřejmě prodá. Učitel Studnička, ten by z toho rád udělal pamětní místnost. Ale snaží se o to už strašně dlouho a nic. To asi ten návrh na památku, to je jeho další pokus, jenom jak tu školu zachránit.
So at this point, I think if you've been watching closely, you probably kind of know what we were trying to do was to put the school building as a central to the plot, that it really, like all the tensions revolve around it. Like you can see one guy wanting to preserve it and the other guy wanted to buy it, and without any afterthought about history, just like expand his business. And like those are both very like valid opinions in the discourse about history, and we're showing them. We're not like really judging, and we're like presenting you a narrative in which you can find your own place. And we have questions. I think we can take a little question.
To je jedno. Já už tady dlouho nebudu, a i kdyby. Tak co nadělám, to je všechno dávno domluvený.
Okay.
Mám ještě práci. Já vás doprovodím, pojďte.
We also have a very nice interactive comics, but I think we can show them after a few questions because we already have some. Thanks so much. Please ask away. The first one is from Petrol. Thank you so much. I remember that Attentat was also about your grandpa. Any reason for using paternal figures in both cases? What would you guys say? What would Lukáš say? Because Lukáš was there when the games were being written in the initial phase.
Yeah, there's no like particular reason for this, and to be honest, your grandmother was one of the main characters in Attentat 2. You spend a lot of time with her and interacting with her memories too. But I mean, in general, I really like that there is this family connection with someone, because when you finish this game, and it actually happens a lot, people start to ask their parents or grandparents what they actually did during some periods of, let's say, challenging times in our history. And that's something which this game motivates you somehow to do. It's very implicit, but that's why I like that you've got those figures which are somehow resembling your family in the game. But to focus just on the question, there is no particular reason why it's for the second time the grandfather, because still I believe that your grandmother was one of the main characters in Attentat, so just a coincidence in this case.
Yeah, but like I think, as you said, it enables a very nice, it enables a certain way of approaching the narrative that, yeah, really like invokes this sense of like intergenerational dialogue. And also, yeah, Ondřej wanted to say something because Ondřej actually has a very interesting family history that is related to the history in the game.
No, I would just like to note for the record that I was actually involved with the project before Lukáš, but just slightly. Okay. But another.
I'm honestly, I'm really sorry. I hope you don't take my bonuses. Please don't take my bonuses.
I will
But
cut
you
them by
can't
half.
take my bonuses though. Only Lukáš can.
No, maybe just to know that the approach that we take, as with the family connection and all the other things, is just focused on the like showing history as relating to real people and ordinary people, unlike most games which are focused on like significant figures or heroes or soldiers. And what we're trying to do, and what I think is pretty unique, is that we're showing the civilian perspective in conflicts, and also like showing history as it goes through time in one like family or in one village. As you can see the continuum of history, which is not just separate events or dates, but it goes from the beginning of the war till like the to this day, basically.
Yeah, that's also one of the reasons why the game is taking place like in 2001. And that's also the reason for that is that it was plausible that at that time, 2001, the actual witnesses would still be alive and willing to talk to you, like just like that. But I also wanted to find out, and it's actually really funny, or not funny, but like that's very interesting. And also, I wasn't there during the writing, so maybe you guys can answer. But we also have some overlaps between Attentat 1942 and Svoboda 1945, right? Like we have recurring characters.
Yes, it's a bit of a spoiler though. Maybe we shouldn't discuss too much, but yes,
Yeah,
there is.
I just said we had some. Like you can guess. Like there's plenty of characters in Attentat 1942.
It takes place in the same universe.
Metaverse. No, I mean, oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I think like we have second question, and then we will go on. The question is from Andrea. It actually arrived in our mail just this afternoon. No, of course, kidding. It arrived in my inbox. And the question is, and Lukáš is smiling the most, so I'm gonna put him up on a big screen. What made each of you history nerds? Any particular point in time you became more interested in history? Okay, that's a tough one though. I'm glad I have the power to not go first. Who wants to go first?
I mean, I can go. I mean, I think for me it was basically getting involved with this project, because I got involved in second year of my technical university education, and I didn't have that much history classes, and I felt kind of behind when I was reading through the encyclopedia and all the other materials that the historians were beginning to prepare for us. And I really started like reading up on it and getting more into it. So I'm grateful for the from the education that I got from this project as well.
Yeah, to be honest, for me, it was the other way around. I had actually too many historical courses. And then when I had the opportunity to work on this project, it seems very approachable. And I really like the format, how it actually can, or it gives you some opportunity to actually somehow interact with the history. And it seemed very attractive to me after all the ways how I've used to be taught history. This seemed very attractive and very new, and actually, yeah, that was basically it. I really liked the format, and I think that it can really works to tell you a complex stories and let you think critically about what happens. And it's not about just the list of dates or stuff like that. It really helps you to think about deeper meaning of some of the events. So that's what I really liked about this one.
As a marketing guy, I really like how you shifted it from praising the medium we are using, with great. And I'm gonna be a very short, and I will answer like very strictly to the core of the matter that the question had. So I think, yeah, there was a point I actually was pondering if to study history in university, and it was, I think, second year in high school, and I think it was, yeah, for some reason I was really into like Greece and like also the old I think this is Middle East, like Middle Eastern, like Akkadian Empire and Bashurpanipal and all like those people with a very cool mythology. And I also like, I could maybe do the argument that my father is a big history nerd, and particularly World War II history nerd, and he played a lot of Blitzkrieg with me. So there you go. I think like games did play in my history nerdism or I don't know, history, or in the history nerd part of my personality, kind of a big role. So yeah, it was Sudden Strike and Blitzkrieg.
So
Yeah.
we should know that we are not the history nerds on the team. We are like, we have a special department of people which are studying history professionally, or who are actually professional historians. So we are like amateur nerds. We have professional history nerds hired as well.
Well, I guess you have to be a little history nerd to work on the project like that, right?
Maybe, or you can just enjoy it casually, I guess.
Yeah, like.
Should we go on with the?
Yeah, we can. I also, yeah, we have another question, but I think, I don't know. Okay, let's answer it now and let's move on, because it's also from Petrol. And it's in a chat. Please use the chat or our Discord. It doesn't matter. What's the ultimate accidentally historical game in your opinion? And I'm trying to parse that really hard in my brain right now.
Can you repeat that?
Historical.
What's the ultimate accidentally historical game in your opinion? Wow.
I'm not sure how to parse that.
Yeah,
could you in the chat maybe explain how you meant
yeah,
the question?
please, we will move on, and please like rephrase it. We are not sure what you mean. Like, is Call of Duty accidentally historic? No, it's probably not. Like, is Warcraft 3 accidentally historic? Probably not. I don't know. That's really hard. Like, please specify, and we will be going on. And because we are eager to show you our another core scene and also a beautiful map.
Dobrý den.
Dobrý den. Hledáte někoho?
Já jsem se tady narodila za války. Teď to tu vypadá úplně jinak. Tam za těmi okny jsme bydleli. Můj táta tady dělal ve škole ředitele.
No a co? Chcete se sem vrátit?
Ne, já bydlím už mnoho let v Německu. Chtěla jsem to tady jen ukázat mojí vnučce.
So this,
All right.
yeah, I think this is one of the most like moving. I like all of the storylines are moving, but the fact that this is a woman that is returning to the home she was expelled from after so many years for the first time is just like there's something moving about that, really moving. And this is also, yeah.
Which again, it's a very real phenomenon of these people. There was 2.3 million people expelled, Lukáš, something like that. And so it was one of the largest transfers of people after the war, and in history of Europe, it was huge. And there was, of course, a lot of people who were after the fall of the communist regime curious about how the places they grew up in or were born to, how they look like now. So it's actually very real that people living there sometimes encounter Germans who are visiting where they grew up.
Yeah, like to be honest, it's like if you put it in percentage, it was almost a little bit over 1/4 of the whole population of the country at the moment. So it's like a huge amount of people which were actually expelled. But at the same time, the story, which externally may seem like very interesting, that someone is coming somewhere to check some house or something where they used to live. It actually happens a lot in Czech Republic or in Central Europe. For it, even my family has a cottage in one of these areas, and that area was before the expulsion. There used to live a lot of Czech Germans before, but after the revolution, after the 1990s, like 50 or 60% of those houses or the households there with cottages actually experienced someone coming back to talk with them, how they grew up there, and sharing the stories and stuff like that. So it's these things are very real in Czech context somehow.
Also, maybe we can say that the like considering the huge upheaval, the transfer or the expulsion of Germans caused, it's not something that's freely talked about. It's not a huge talking point. Maybe people don't like to talk about it. So our game is like trying maybe to a little bit make the discussion possible and show all the points and all the facts relating to that. So there could be more reconciliation, maybe. Let's just say it's a bit controversial here still.
Yeah, I'd also say I also dated a girl, and she this is not turning into soap opera, I promise. And she grew up in a house that was full of stuff that was actually left by Germans after being expelled. So, and this is, I think we can go to Anna's story. I would continue this line. We can go to Anna's story and maybe show the interactive comic because that is something we are really proud of, and it shows what we've just been talking about.
Promiňte, dobrý den. Hledáte někoho? No, moje vnučka s někam odběhla, ale proč ne? Pojďte dál.
I like this car.
Tak, co byste si přál?
You were born in a school is the surest way to go to the comic, I think.
Ano, v roce 1939 můj otec byl ředitelem školy a měli jsme tady i byt. Tady jsem prožila tu hezčí část svého dětství. Po válce nás jako Němce vyhnali. Poslyšte, ale ta škola je v hrozném stavu. Měla by se opravit, co říkáte?
We can talk about the encyclopedia. We just saw a little notification there.
I think we can after comic and the last answer will bring you to it.
Okay.
Pamatuju si, že teta si směla zabalit jen to nejnutnější. Kufry nesměly vážit víc než 50 kilo a balila je pod dohledem českých vojáků. Já si nejvíc vzpomínám na to, že jsem se pořád ptala na rodiče. Teta říkala, že už se s nimi brzy setkáme. Muselo to pro ně být hrozné.
And what you're about to see is a comic, an interactive comic. Okay, no, the first one is yes. I forgot the first one is historical playable memories. We call them playable memories.
We are in the shoes or in the skin of Gretchel's aunt, who had to quickly pack all her belongings and leave their house with the 2 kids. So they got this notice that they had to leave and that they have to leave all valuables and everything behind, and they can only take some necessary equipment like clothes and food for the road.
So there's
So now you have
there's a lot of different objects for you to explore if you're interested in that sort of thing. But the thing is, those flammable memories, there's never a wrong way to play them most of the time. So yeah. So we're not. This is not a history test or anything.
it's also
Not sure
every
whether-
object. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. One thing which I just realized, maybe you can't hear it through the stream, but there is a group called Dva who actually created the music for this game, and I really like the music. Like when you play the game, the headphones, it really gets you into the atmosphere of the game, and the emotion starts or tries to actually exchange with you. So.
They also made the soundtrack for our amazing Czech colleagues at Amanita Games for their games Machinarium and Chuchel, Samost, right? Actually, yeah, I think.
I'm not sure whether Summerost, but definitely Botanicula.
Botanicula, right. Okay, I'm just gonna skip the rest of the game so we don't spoil
let's
too
go
much.
to the comic. We have a bunch of questions relating to that, so after the comic. Yeah, I think this is best to leave it as it is without comments. I don't think the curse is really there, but you can obviously go through the comics at your own pace. Okay, so that was our interactive comics. We have interactive comics basically for every character in the game. Sometimes with multiple ones. So that's the third part of our gameplay that is very crucial to our atmosphere and narrative building, I think. And it's made by a respectable Czech illustrator who's also working on books and other projects, Wojciech Šida. So shout out to Wojciech Šida. We switched our style a little bit from Atlanta 1942, but yeah. I think it's really great. We have questions though, so I think now is the nice time to answer that. Okay, so first of all, let's get back to Petrol's question. He meant, or they meant, I don't really know though, they meant that a game that's not primarily historical but is full of opportunities to learn history, such as Age of Empires, for example, that served as a gateway to history for quite a lot of people. So what was your, I guess, historical yet not made by historians or with history on the first place game? If you can remember. I have one. Like you should, Ondřej, you should also have one because we played it together.
I will have a different take. I think like for me, maybe like Doom was very historically enlightening. Oh, you had the same idea?
No, Doom?
Exactly, because like if you look at the game, it has nothing to do with history. But as I learned more, you actually learn a lot about history of computing, of the recent history of computer progress, and how it could have only been made at this very specific time.
It's a very nice spin, this one. I really like that.
Yeah, he's a lead programmer. It's a lead. That's
I
a
would
lead
also
programmer.
stress that history is something that is continually being made. So history is anything
Yeah, obviously.
right to this point. Like is the quote, "The past is not over. It's not even past." Right?
Okay, well now you really set the stake for like the meta answer. So okay, I leave this. So Lukáš, what is your answer?
I mean, if I'm thinking about if I put aside civilization, what was the... Yeah, actually, Europa Universalis was the game which was played like really a lot when I was studying, and it was actually used as a study material and procrastination at the same time. So that was very popular in around me.
Okay, I mean fair answer. Like Paradox Interactive. I never got the determination to dive into those games, even though the I don't know the image of me playing like these grand strategy games is appealing, but like the actual reality probably doesn't suit my borderline ADHD. Let's put it that way. Uh, but as for me, I have actually a shout out to the LudoNarraCon game. Because there are three games that made me Google things lately about history. One of them is obviously Age of Empires, because we played it a lot, and there's a lot you want to learn about the different civilizations. But that's kind of an obvious one, right? The second one is Hades, by a great guys at Supergiant Games, which made me Google a lot about. Yeah, as I said, I like Greece, or at least liked Greece, so I kind of got back to Greek mythology with that. But the last one, and this is the shout out, goes to Umurangi Generation. It's a photography game that actually is a sci-fi game, but it's a Maori, or I probably won't pronounce it right, but these New Zealand uh, native people, and it actually made me. Okay, you can hear me. The Discord just crashed, but I think you can hear me.
I hope we're still live.
And I think we've lost our stream too.
No, we don't. We didn't. No, we didn't lose our stream. I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back. Everything's fine. So it made me Google Maori history and Maori stuff because I was interested in the cultural background the developer was coming from. So that was pretty accidental because I totally did not expect that. Okay, and expulsion of Sudeten Germans is still alive in Czech borderlands. Aren't you afraid of reactions to this? And by this, I presume, is our game. So that's a very project lead question, I think.
To be honest, I'm actually not. One of the advantages of this game is that it can open some debate about some particular topics, and it can be expulsion of Sudeten Germans, or it can be also the rise of communism after the Second World War. But the thing is that this game gives you a lot of opportunities to interact with the topic from many ways, from many perspectives. And if you really got into this game, it's a perfect place or a perfect medium to actually open the dialogue and feel the opinions and the arguments from all the actors. So yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid that this game would open some debates about the topic because I think that it sets it sets the stage fairly for the debate.
You've also done some research on this. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I mean, I did,
But Lukáš, you're academic.
but
Lukáš, academic. We didn't say that, but the reason you're doing research is you're academic, so that's, also your own research.
no, but in general, let's put it in the more general terms. But if you use games with game mechanics, as for example the one we are using here, it usually when there's some challenging topic or some critical topic, which is very polarizing society. So if some parts of that society plays that game, actually, there are some data and some research which is actually suggesting that those people will come to the more modest attitudes and positions about that particular topic. So they won't be too radical about that idea, and they will start to think more about the other side, about the other actors, and it helps to let's say, it helps to create some empathy for the other actors in any challenging topic which the game mechanics as ours and approaches ours can actually give you. So that would be like very general answer from the research perspective.
Okay, thanks so much. I don't think we have another question at this point. Please ask. And okay, I think we can continue a little more. Maybe show the card game. That's your favorite one, right? The card game. We love card game.
Okay. I wanted to quickly show you the encyclopedia, though.
Oh yeah, no, we also love encyclopedia, obviously, because we are history nerds, as we were called in the question. So
one of the features of the game is basically whenever someone's talking about something that many people probably never heard about, they will just casually mention, for example, the explosion or some other facts. A little notification will pop out in the corner that will tell you just unlocked a new entry to the encyclopedia, which you can access through the menu. And you can see that we've unlocked these like four different things. The total number of entries is about 80 in the final game or something like that. And these were written by professional historians and go into great detail and have also unique archival pictures in them. So you can basically go as deep as you want in this game into the history. If you're obviously not into that, it's fine and it's not compulsory in any way.
it's just like give you a little context, which presumably you don't necessarily have, because a lot of topics we are covering is actually not even taught in Czech schools. So yeah.
Yeah, what's one point from the backstage? Ondřej was actually in charge of developing the encyclopedia since the day one of the project. So he's very proud of that particular feature there. So
I've grown to like it, and I also many times when I was implementing the technical part, I just got stuck reading the entries and was quite fascinated by some of the details I learned about our history, which I wasn't actually taught in school. So
I also cooperated on that because I was copying some XML files for you. So there's also a little touch of my Notepad++ editor in that.
Okay, so this is a scene where Mr. Book, which you just saw in the intro, actually came to Czech borderlands as a Volnian, which means he was a Czech living in today's Ukraine, and he was transferred there after the war to fill the space left by the expelled Germans. And he came to this pub and started playing cards with these settlers who were there before him, who kind of see him as this like foreign guy, and they talk about politics. So the whole concept of the game is that we show you how ordinary people viewed the situation and how they thought about politics in the year 1946.
On the eve, actually, it's the day before the elections that put the communists in the position from which they could make the coup d'état later, in 2 years later. So this is like a history turning moment.
I would just, maybe the word coup d'etat is not super historically accurate, but we're not historians
Seize
again.
the power 2 years later. Seize the power is okay now.
Yeah, that could work. But there is a very interesting story about the cards in this game.
Yeah.
It's about the visuals. Maybe Ondřej, you were somehow involved in with the creation of this mini game. So if you can elaborate a little bit.
Yeah. So each of those, we're, you might not notice that, but each of those cards, including their backs and fronts, those are the actual cards that were used in that year. Because we had to as with everything in the game, we had to contact the what's it called, like a card collector, professional card collector, or like a card nerd. I think like we established that we can use that word here. So like a guy that collects cards, or a man that collects cards and knows everything about the different cards and different eras. So, and there's a very much like he talks to me, and we will release this interview eventually, about like the little marks that separate the different cards, and how cards were actually heavily taxed in the same way that like alcohol is today. And so the cards themselves bear like a big part of like even culture and political legacy. So we took care to actually use the right cards for the right time.
Yeah, actually, when he arrived to our offices, I've never been in the room with such an amount of cards and different types of cards and historical knowledge about the cards and documents about the cards. He brought a really huge variety of things which we can use. And those were, we thought that these are really the best ones. So that's why we chose these.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, I have it here. He gave us this little like Prague cards, which is a reprinting of cards from 1920. So, I think this is like just, I don't know, fun way to kind of compare. So those are cards from 1920. So he also is doing this like restoration projects, and is leading the only nadace, foundation for like preserving.
Foundation.
So yeah, we also got a little nice like souvenirs and memorabilia out of it. And like we didn't even talk about the game. I mean the game of cards itself. It's not just any game.
The game is quite popular still, kind of in Czech pub. It's very simple, very easy to like pay attention while you're drinking. It's a little bit similar to blackjack. You're collecting cards till you rack up points up to 21. We're trying to hit 21, and if you go over, you lose. It's super simple, and people bet money on it. But we didn't implement the money betting here. Also, not to
for ethical and legal reasons.
Right. We're trying to keep the focus on the dialogues. As you can see now, they're talking about like the role of the big factions, the start of the Cold War, how some help is coming from the west, some help is coming from the east. Volk, obviously, who the character you're playing now, who grew up in Ukraine and has some experience with Stalin's regime there, is very wary of Stalinists, and some of the others are actually communists, trying to like say that it's the right way to go for the country. So it's interesting how the spirit was back then. Right. Should I go for another card?
Yes.
And you cannot go you cannot go over 21. Somehow similar to blackjack.
It's like a Czech pub blackjack. And and also it like translates as the ace takes all. which I don't know much about because I only play Magic, and in Magic Jace takes all.
It's translatable as that. It's like if you have two aces, it's like the two eyes, right? So it's like, I don't know how to say. So
Speaking of historical accuracy, we also have questions. Question: any plans to provide the encyclopedia as a separate PDF with the game for easy reading? I think we can broaden the question because we are like right now, and we're on a process or in a process of making a special physical edition or thinking about making a special physical edition. So maybe is there any plan to like provide the encyclopedic knowledge we have in a game in a like a different way than just in a game?
I'm thinking, yeah, we actually thought about that, and even for the physical edition. But the thing is that the encyclopedia is 120 pages long, approximately, something like that, if you put it all together. And that's a lot of pages, actually, to print and to distribute. So there are some logistic problems. But using it as a PDF and maybe put it into some bundle or some package with our game, it could actually make sense.
Yeah, we already did an art book with Attentat 1942 that actually included some not previously seen materials. So I can very much see us doing similar thing with the encyclopedia. If that's something you guys would like to have along with the game, sure, like we can do that. Once the game is released in August 2020. And if you want to show us you care, the surest way to show is to wishlist our game, which you can do directly from the LudoNarraCon stream. I think it's there on the right, or there on the right, or just here on the Steam page. Okay, so we're there before the fall of democracy, almost. Not yet though, but on the verge of what is called Third Republic.
Right.
Okay, we are what? We are, I think we're an hour in. We're almost...
Are there any more questions?
Yeah, we are an hour in. Okay, so last call for questions. It's 20:02 a.m. here, so it's like past midnight. But of course, we will hang out with you if you want to. And do you want to see something more? Maybe we could show some other characters, just like briefly.
Okay, just to reiterate some of the ways you can keep in touch with us and with the development of the game is first and foremost wishlist the game on Steam, and you can subscribe to our newsletter on our webpage and join our Discord. That's also linked here, hopefully somewhere.
Yeah, I will make sure. I will post the link as well into the chat, and we also have TikTok. We also have, and you would be surprised how well TikTok works with history such as that. I was amazed. And we also have Twitter, where we are probably not the most, but very active. Probably the most and very active. But we don't shy from the other stuff too. Yeah, so yeah, let's show Studnička. He's probably my favorite character.
Sorry for the yawning. It's starting to be kind of late.
We have 17 viewers. That's cool. So for you guys who just came in, we're streaming our game, Svoboda 1945 Liberation. It's a historical adventure. We're just showing the different characters you will talk to while you're dealing with the histories and complex stories and complex fates of your family and the other people on the Czech-German borderlands. And but we are nearing the end. So if you have any questions or you really want us to show you something in particular, please, this is the time. Write us into chat, and we will be happy to oblige. I think the building has an interesting history.
To by bylo dlouhý vypravování, ale jestli vás to zajímá, mám tady spoustu materiálů. Jsem vlastně takový místní historik amatér. Vždycky mě fascinovalo, kolik nitek vede právě k téhleté budově.
A true history nerd. This is the guy who would buy a Svoboda 1945. Thanks, I take.
I don't think we have. Yeah.
Do we have
Go ahead.
the scene ready? No, we don't, right? Like we don't have subtitles, so probably don't show it. Okay, so I guess like there are no other questions, even though there are 16 people watching us, which is totally fine. I will refresh once more and just look in if there's somebody else on Discord. And also, yeah, I don't know. Maybe even like, is there something you two would like to talk about in relationship to our game or in relation to our game or the studio, which like nobody asked, I didn't ask. This is the last stream, for LudoNarraCon, so.
Maybe there was the issue with which we're hoping to avoid this time.
It's actually
But, there was this curious situation with our last game, Attentat 1942, which we were showcasing at the Amaze Festival. That's 2 years ago. It's going to be 2 years. And we were in this curious position where we actually won the main award at Amaze, but we couldn't show the game because it was for us illegal to do that at the time because it contained the Nazi symbolism and faces and historical photographs, which would not be the case in other media.
Like documents.
So documents. So we there was a lengthy process that was going on as part of the Youth Protection Agency in Germany, which is responsible for raiding all media. And we were part of one of, I think, 3 games which were very relevant to that discussion at the time, and they internally changed their position from strictly forbidding any game to use Nazi symbolism to be accepted by this agency, to individually judging each game on its own, like socially and cultural merit. So we're happy about that, and we're hoping to avoid any issues with Svoboda for the German release, hopefully.
Yeah, but also there's the fact that after we released the mobile version of Attentat 1942, which is something we do plan to do with Svoboda as well eventually, though we focus on the desktop at this point, because we want to get it to you as fast as possible in the best shape possible. We also encountered a lot of hurdles. It's all sorted now, but we had to kind of fight for the game to be on the App Store, on the Google Play, because one thing is regulators, but the second thing are the platforms themselves, and they are sometimes overzealous in this regard. So let's see how this goes, and I hope we won't have any issues. But yeah, but in any case, the case with Attentat 1942 showed us that there is a really vibrant and cool community of people who supported us. So yeah, I'm not too worried.
Yeah, I mean, even with the Svoboda, I wouldn't expect that we will pass any superficial check, but all the time we will have to, as we do, include some reasoning why we are using some symbolism and why we are depicting some parts of the history the way we do, and actually explain the idea how we are approaching the history in our game, and that we have historians on board and stuff like that. And yeah, that's something which I think is actually good, to approach the games case by case, even by any platform, but it gives us a little bit of a delays when we try to plan some things. So from the production perspective, it's a little bit of a risk which we have to count in every time we plan something, even releasing demo for LudoNarraCon or any other place. We have to count in that we will spend a little bit more time by a little bit, let's say, deeper review of our product by all the platforms.
Yeah,
but actually, it makes somehow sense to have such a review process from many perspectives.
And it also means that we don't want to and didn't sacrifice any of the content we wanted in the game for the sake of being easier to review, right? So we have a Death March comic that is very visceral. We also have different memories of people who survived Holocaust. So this is something we want to keep doing because it aligns with our goal of preserving memory through the video game, which we believe is important medium. So yeah, we won't backpedal on that in any case. So that was topic from Ondřej, but what about Lukáš? So Lukáš, you're satisfied. Is there something you'd like to add? The last LudoNarraCon shout out.
I think in general we used most of the topics. I wanted to mention during this stream one thing that at the beginning you may have not noticed, but there's a scene when you are in the car and you're approaching the village and you hear your telephone. And actually we shoot this scene, I think it was at least twice or 3 times. And every time, since the game is happening sometimes in 2000, in the beginning of the year 2000, and we wanted to use like a phone which was era appropriate and stuff like that. So every time we make a huge call around our friends and everyone from the community to actually find Nokia 3310 or something like that, to actually shoot the footage accordingly to the time. So those are the small funny situations we usually face when we are trying to reproduce these things. So it was just a small story, but other than that, I think we said a lot actually. And if there are no more questions, I'm just
yes, they are not. There are not. If that's a question directed to me, there are not.
I was checking. I think we can just thank our community for coming and having a time to actually check our stream and spend some time with us and with our game.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if you're watching us from the recording, please ask us in our Discord, which you can easily find, and as Charles Games. And yeah, so I'll take the liberty, if you two are not against it, to end the stream.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yeah. Okay. I will put
Thank you
your
all.
hand waves on the big screen. So like one more time, Lukas, please.
Okay. So
Yeah.
thank you all.
So okay, yeah. Thank you so much for being with us. A big shout out to all the fellow devs here at LudoNarraCon, because truly it's been a really heartfelt festival and a really great experience for us. This is actually the first time we have streamed so intensely, like full 4 days each evening, and we've been thrilled to be here. And like, if you didn't make it yet, please wishlist Svoboda, and yeah, let's keep in touch, and we are eager to show you our game when it comes out in August 2020. And please take care and remember that history should be remembered. And good night, or good rest of whatever day you're watching our stream at. Hi, bye from us at Charles.
Bye everyone.